It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
10th of April 2019 is a 2 minutes past 8 CET, of course AM. That's the pre-London Open. Piotr here, and this is the Light Forex YouTube channel. Let's go through the risk warning, guys. Please bear in mind trading FX, trading crypto, margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Okay, that was the risk warning. Let's have a look what we have today. Of course, it's ECB day, but not only. Just a reminder, 1:30 CET time. We are going to cover this ECB day, but it's not only ECB. I would say it might be much more busy from the pound perspective because of the GDP at 10:30 CET, manufacturing production 10:30 CET. Then over the course of the day, EU summit Brexit related. Then afternoon NISR GDP estimate, so plenty of things pound related, right? But not only pound. It might be also the dollar day, mostly because of the US CPI, so it's very important number at 2:30 CET. And then don't forget, later today 7:01 we are gonna to get the 10-year bond auction numbers. And at 8 we are gonna to get FOMC minutes. So looks like very busy day, very busy day ahead. We'll see. All right. Option expirations. So let's start with euro dollar. Not many changes actually. I'm quite surprised. Compared to what we've seen yesterday, looks like market at least till 4 p.m. Don't expect fireworks, or maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. 112.75, so levels very close to what we are trading right now. 1.3 billion. Then in between 12.50, 12.45. We've got 1.2 billion, so very close, right? So 12.75 and 12.50, 12.45. Then 12.25, 500 millions and 112, 700 millions, right? Dollar yen. Not big numbers, only the possible demand zone we discussed yesterday around 110.80. Looks like someone was listening to us. 110.80, almost 1 billion over there. 130 on the pound, 850 millions. Nice. So, yeah. So that's how it looks from the option perspective. Before we jump into the particular pairs, let's have a look what we have on a dollar index. There you go. I'm quite proud to what we discussed yesterday. The lower shadow on the dollar index, that's what we expected. Of course, I expected that the strongest within the dollar basket, euro dollar, it's gonna to hit something around 113, and here we missed a few pips. But anyway, because of this range, because of the tight range over here, we discussed it yesterday, right, that it might be attempt to go lower, but it's all about the end of the day, right? And we discussed that it might be lower shadow. Also, the trees that I told that we are maybe will try to double that range, right? So maybe we are gonna to build that lower shadow, but based on a retest of a little bit lower level. It would translate into euro dollar to test 113, right? It didn't materialize, but I wouldn't say it may not happen, right? There are two from the dollar bullish perspective, right? There are two possible scenarios I'm gonna to focus on, because you know there are plenty of different scenarios, but two I'm gonna to focus. The first one is the possibility of swing low creation over here, right? And the second one is the possibility of stop hunt around ECB, right? Fulfill this size of the original range and move higher. That's how I see dollar from the bull's perspective. And to be honest with you, it's not necessarily ECB related, right? Yesterday we get few euro negative informations. It was Italy related and it was Cyprus related. And we are talking about this one. Let me place it on the chat window. And yesterday there was a very interesting situation on the bond market where Greek 5-year bond yield was at 228 and US 5-year bond yield was at 230. That's crazy. That was crazy. And the last thing I saw yesterday, euro related, it was the negative information from the Bank of Cyprus, where the Bank of Cyprus reported a record outflow of deposits, highest since 2013. So yeah, ECB day, but there are plenty of things around going on, all right? So bullish perspective on the dollar index, in other words, bearish perspective from euro dollar, we are going to discuss in a second. On the other hand, of course, if CPI will not deliver and we are going to get daily close below 96.80, it might opened the way towards weekly level 96, right? So in my opinion, the worst case scenario for today, for this busy day, worst case scenario is negative ECB and negative CPI, for example, right? Because then euro dollar, for sure we are going to see spike to the upside, spike to the downside, and we are going to probably end the day around current levels. So we are going to hit stops to the upside, we are going to hit stops to the downside, and we are not going to clarify current situation, and most probably we are going to stay within the range. The best scenario, best possible scenario is, for example, negative ECB, very positive CPI, or very hawkish ECB and very negative CPI, right? What I'm trying to tell you is that we need some kind of the double kick, probably to get the resolution on the euro dollar. And to the upside, we have to take out yesterday high, and then we got the chance to retest a weekly open, right, where probably supply resides. If not here, then the stops above previous ECB date. Just the reminder. Right, the high over here, 7th of March, is a previous, this big candle is the previous ECB day range, right? And bulls managed to get back inside the range. That's why when we were discussing yesterday this lower shadow, it was one of the reasons, it was that we got back into that range. So the bottom of that range, right, retest, and that's why I was expecting the lower shadow yesterday. All right. So this we know where is demand, supply around the weekly open, and then towards the high of the previous ECB day. That's how I see the things from the dollar perspective. So let's switch to euro dollar. Okay, so let's have a look what we have on the euro dollar. Bulls had a problems around the first possible intraday supply we discussed yesterday, right? And there is creation of something looks like head and shoulders, and most probably, of course, we cannot call it head and shoulders because it's not right place. Head and shoulders is a reversal formation at the top. Looking to the left side, there are plenty of different things, much higher, right? So something looks like head and shoulders, but most probably, because of the factors we were discussing yesterday, most probably it's not gonna trade that way. What I think is going to happen, we are going to create a bigger formation, which is going to look like head and shoulders most probably. So how I see the things on euro dollar is going to be that most probably it's going to correspond with the based on what we discussed a second ago on dollar index, that we are going to retest or hunt the stops below yesterday low on dollar index, meaning that we are going to hunt the stops to the upside on euro dollar. So that's the range I see, not shadows. That's the range I see, and we are going to double that range. So probably it's going to bring us towards 113, right? It's going to bring us towards That's supply. Okay, that's how I see the things. And one of the reason it's what I see on the right shoulder right now. We are creating most probably because there was an attempt to go lower during the Tokyo session, stop count, right? What I see here is probably we are gonna I'm trying to visualize this situation over here. Of course, I'm gonna to switch to lower time frame during the London session, but I can see that it might be the megaphone creation here. In that case, if you are gonna to get your homework and you are gonna to go through 100 charts, not 1, 2, 3, but hundreds plus charts, you are gonna to notice that when there is a megaphone on the right shoulder, there is a probability that we are going to break to the upside instead of the fulfill the head and shoulder. So that's what I'm gonna to look for in that case. From the intraday perspective, I may try still to join the party from the short-term perspective to the upside. Not sure if we are going to get that low, right? Because if we are going to get that low, that's going to be the filling deformation. No, it should be lower. All right, it should be towards this base over here. Okay, we'll see. So there is a probability we are finally we are going to get test of 113 1020. Okay, so the level we were waiting for yesterday. So yeah, trading is the waiting game. So yeah, I'm gonna be patient here, and we'll simply will wait. Okay, on the other hand, so we know from the bear's perspective on euro dollar, I'm still waiting for 13.20, right, and looking for lower levels. But in case you are a bull, right, in case you think that short euro dollar is too crowded right now, and you want to try to counter that trend, meaning that you are looking for long on euro dollar, then we were trying to visualize this stuff yesterday, and I think that at least Draghi is gonna try to be dovish, meaning that he will try again push euro dollar lower or much lower. In that case, I wouldn't be surprised that we are gonna to see the spike down towards the weekly open, or maybe a little bit lower just to clean some stops. So in case of the daily chart, it might be, if we are going to take into the consideration price action we've seen until now. So for now, it looks like that was the daily open, right? We're trying to push the price a little bit higher right now, okay? Then Draghi will step in. We'll try to push euro dollar lower, stop hunting, right? And then around the option expiration, around the London fix, we are gonna to start to create lower shadow, right? And we are gonna to end the day with very long lower shadow. So either watching the intraday price action on small time frame, trying to join something below weekly open, all right, or waiting for a day close and then bullish price action tomorrow eventually, right? That's how the bulls may try to prepare themselves eventually for rebuild long positions on euro dollar. So that's how I see the things here. Let's have a look what we have on the pound, and but let's start with euro pound, not pound dollar. Let's start with euro pound, because it might be the case that all of these informations visible on the chart plus ECB day, right, with the probability of the extension, for sure we are going to see higher volatility on the pound, right? But it looks like it might turn again, that market may try to focus on the EU problems, and once we are going to at some point get this extension, if there are gonna be no objectives from the EU, from the Brussels, and it's gonna be, let's say, some kind of the smooth agreement in relation to this extension, so then we might see pound spiking higher, and also versus dollar, but mostly based on the euro pound price action. So one more time, it might happen that what we are gonna to see on the pound dollar, it might not be related to dollar, it might be related to euro pound price action. Okay, the pound dollar is gonna depend, a lot of things gonna depend on the CPI as well, right? We'll see. So in that case, right, we see some kind of the stabilization on the euro pound over here, right? So we are bouncing in between the supply based on the weekly, blue color, and we are bouncing in between demand based on the weekly over here, right, below. And as we are approaching the higher levels, and if I'm not mistaken, and the my way of thinking is correct, so it might be some kind of the attempt to spike higher with rejection towards at least towards the bottom of that consolidation, or even we may try to build swing high around the latest price action we've seen to the left. So going to watch out euro pound as well today. It might be very, very interesting. And from intraday perspective, taking into consideration what we have from the higher time frame, right? So this supply from weekly, there is a possibility we may try to, based on the intraday price action, we may try to hit this level, so we may try to clean some more stops. And there you go, there is a nice possible supply, intraday supply over here. Okay, and we may hit that supply based on the current price action, based on what we've seen here, over here, right? So that's how I see the things on the euro pound. In that case, it might be easier today to watch euro pound than the pound dollar. Or maybe I'm wrong. From the dollar pound perspective, just a reminder, we are still within this white 130, 129.70 from the bottom side towards 133, 133.50. At the top, we are within this white range over here, right? We are still testing lower end But yesterday we saw the spike to the upside, then rejection, but bulls were able to hold above weekly open, right? So still trying to push it higher might be the name of the game. And just a reminder about the seasonality. So that's where the intraday supply resides. Above this, if we are going to hit these stops, we have this consolidation over here. Then higher possible supply over here. Final supply, intraday supply with stops above, right? So to the downside, weekly open around 30.37. All right, possible over under around 30.20. Then 131.29.70 to the downside. So all these levels are demand related. In regards to possible supply, that's for sure stop zone and supply above. So we may try to hit these stops, and hitting this this supply over here, let's say that way, hitting this supply over here. Okay, so we are talking about the stops above 31.20 towards 31.35, then the possible supply higher towards 31.50, and again towards 32.15 from the pound perspective. All right, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if today is gonna be easier to try to monitor pound via euro. Okay, okay, we hit Tokyo high, so we hit some stops. We'll see if we are going to react over here. Let's switch to the lower time frame. At least we are trying to react, so that's the good sign. Something like this, maybe. That's not bad. Okay. So, yeah, quickly going back to euro. Another attempt to go lower, some stops, and reversal here. That might work that way. Okay, dollar yen. 111 holds yesterday into the option expiration. That's what we discussed, right? There was a very negative sentiment at the beginning of the US cash session, a strong sell-off on the DJ, and we were covering this live yesterday. But 111 holds, right? Just a reminder, we do have possible demand a little bit lower, down towards 110.80, 110.60, and then psychological 110, right? So basically what we are talking about this move below this supply to the left side, right? The yellow zone over here. So that's the key. We may try to draw the channel. To the downside. That's the one thing. Also, we may try to draw, based on the move to the downside and current consolidation, we may try to create some kind of the flag. Okay, and what I would like to see within that flag, there was an attempt to go lower, there was an attempt to go higher. It might be a little bit, it might take a little bit longer. Same price action during the London, attempt to go lower like this, attempt to go higher like this, retest of this supply, and then move towards 180, 60 at the very beginning, right? And then depends on the sentiment, maybe lower towards 100, 110, right? Bulls are gonna be good to go on the move and close back above 135, 150. Sorry, 111, 35, 111.50. That's how I see the things from dollar yen perspective over here, right? So again, what we are talking about to the downside, that's the zone, right? Eventually, where the things may get interesting again. That's how I see the things. Of course, the bulls may try to visualize to themselves the possible flag to the upside over here. We'll see, right? I'm fan of the dollar, but the only pair where I'm dollar bearish is for now dollar yen, to be honest with you. I see the possibility of retest of 110. Okay, so what we are talking about, this consolidation over here to the downside, right? Okay, there was a strong sell-off on the DJ yesterday at the open, all right? And what happened on the Dow Jones? We managed, and we were discussing this yesterday, we managed to close below Monday low, all right? So what happened? We got back below the breakout point. That's negative, right? Of course, to confirm that the bulls are in a deep trouble, we need to get back below 25,800 based on the chart I'm using here, right? To activate this supply we've seen at the very beginning of the December of 2018. Okay, so watching out today for an attempt to go a little bit higher as a retest of the Monday low, right? And from the bear's perspective, we wanna see upper long shadow and the best red body of the candle, meaning falling day, right? Of course, bulls will try to cancel this bearish scenario by moving and closing above yesterday high, right? So trying to engulf this. Is it possible? Of course it is. The bulls got the central banks behind, so no worries. It is possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is possible. Okay. Nasdaq a little bit stronger. The Dow Jones, it was mostly because of the General Electric and burning, right? The negative informations we get yesterday. A little bit better from the Nasdaq perspective, but HSBC today cut Apple, and we know that Apple and Facebook, all those funds related stuff, were helping. HSBC cuts Apple to reduce from hold, but rises target price to 180 from 160, right? So that might be the mixing, yeah, in the chart. So that's how it looks. There is a still possibility on the Nasdaq we are gonna to at least hit the stops related to this last year high, right? So we are right now moving in between that high and the breakout point over here. So I think the more fireworks we are gonna to get on the DJ right now. And the finally is the oil, and we are fighting around the 64 plus. Today we are gonna to get the official crude inventories, but yesterday we got this private data and that's what we get, right? So what I'm gonna to look for on the oil, same what we discussed yesterday. I'm looking to counter this move. I'm looking for market to try to take profit at some point, right? Line is broken. We may see based on the EEA later today, we may see attempt to clear the stops above yesterday high. It might happen easily as a final push to the upside, right? And then strong sell-off. We'll see. I'm gonna to monitor oil very, very closely ahead of the EEA. Okay, Euro is trying. We should finally get back below. One more attempt to push it lower and then higher. Hopefully we are gonna to get that. All right, guys. 1:30 later today. ECB day, CPI, Brexit, EU summit, Brexit related. Plenty of stuff. Busy day. You are more than welcome to join. Have a great morning. Don't be trapped during the London session, and see you again within a few hours. Goodbye.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.